guys? It's Naseem here. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has been out for about 2 months now, and honestly, it's one of the best phones that you can get in 2022. But if I'm being honest, there has definitely been some trials and tribulations along the way. iOS 16 is not perfect. I would get occasional bugs since my last review, and I felt like Apple was slacking on it. The charging was very slow, especially when compared to my Pixel 7 Pro, and I feel like it wasn't that much different from my 13 Pro Max. And even though I have my faults with the 14 Pro Max, those are really the only problems that I had with it as a whole. And in my opinion, after this latest update, the bugs were much less frequent, and I would say that this is the best iPhone that you can buy. I really love the dynamic island. I seen that a lot of people weren't feeling it, but in my opinion, I think that it adds to the overall experience. And yes, it does cut into the screen a little bit more, but I really do like the extra features compared to that really stupid notch that just sits there and does nothing. And it's very interesting to me because people always want Apple to do something different, but once they do different, they start bashing it, and I'm very confused. But let me know down in the comments if you guys think that dynamic island is a cool feature, and if not, explain why. And besides my feelings towards the 14 Pro Max and its many features, I wanted to share my experience with you guys to help you decide whether or not it's worth buying. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Longbotten. Now, Longbotten is a company that specializes in premium watch bands, AirTag cases, and even AirPod cases that's aimed towards top tier luxury while also giving a sense of style with exquisite materials. And the reason that I prefer Longbotten's watch bands is because I'm someone who loves tech, but I also like making my tech look good. And Longbotten draws inspiration from the French Riviera, and it gives off a very classical look that adds a touch of professionalism to my Apple Watch. So if you're someone who wants a very stylish, professional, durable, premium watch band, then Longbotten has got you covered. And with all the benefits of getting a Longbotten watch band, you can also get 15% off when you enter the code down below. And don't worry, it'll also be in the description and comment section of today's video. And again, I wanted to thank Longbotten for sponsoring a portion of today's video, and a very huge thank you to them for giving my Apple Watch some style. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR display that I must say felt exactly the same as the iPhone 13 Pro Max. My favorite thing that I loved about the screen was that it had a 120Hz refresh rate, so that added to the overall smoothness when I scroll through the OS. And now when it comes to size, it's all preference, but I would definitely say that the iPhone 14 Pro Max isn't for everybody. It can get really hard to reach to the top of the screen, and it really starts hurting my pinky after a while of holding it. So when it comes to the 14 Pro Max, you have to be someone who really loves the screen size over comfort. I also really like the responsiveness of the 14 Pro Max. Like whenever I would scroll through the OS, play games, and even customize my home screen, I never really got any lags, and the screen overall kept up that great consistency. The screen was also much brighter than last year. Apple has finally decided to bump up the display to over 2000 nits, so if you're outside and turn the brightness up, you'll see everything very clearly. And now the last aspect of the display that I really liked was how great it looked whenever I was watching movies, playing games, and scrolling through the OS. Like right here, you can see me watching the video on it, and you can see just how colorful and vibrant the display is, and I really enjoy how quality the resolution was. And to give you guys an idea of how good the screen is, I'm gonna watch a video and play a game on it.
Ran the play with D'Angelo Russell. Randall would be great with Memphis. He'd be a great player with Memphis. Kobe Bryant gets to hop on the road. Bryant trying to get on track. Hits and a foul.
Now, the software on the 14 Pro Max was as smooth as ever. I rarely got any lags, but whenever the phone would heat up, there were many times where I would experience slowness of the device. But when it wasn't hot, the 14 Pro Max still maintained that consistency, and that's why it was a very enjoyable device. I also really loved how it was able to handle power heavy apps. The game ran really well and was still able to stay really smooth and get the job done. iOS 16 was definitely the most enjoyable part of the 14 Pro Max's experience for me. Every other day I found myself changing my wallpapers because of how easy it was. My favorite thing that I liked was the lock screen. Like right here, you can see that whenever I put a new wallpaper, I can edit and add more widgets to give the lock screen more depth. I also really liked how Apple integrated the pill notch within the software. I really liked how whenever I play music, it would show off the art cover along with the wave frequencies, and I could even long press it and change the song. Also, whenever I was on the phone, it would let me know how long I was on the call, and if I was doing something else, I could long press it and be able to manage the call from there. And I also really loved how it could multitask. Like whenever I would switch between apps, it would still maintain both tabs for easier switching. And again, I really don't know why people complain about it, because it really does add to the experience. Now, just like the regular iPhone 14 Pro, the one thing that I didn't like like about the pill notch is that whenever I'm screen recording something, someone who doesn't have the 14 Pro or Pro Max will see the pill in the display, and this was really annoying for people who don't have the newer phones. But besides that, there were many little animations that I liked about the pill notch, and even though it's not the most useful revolutionary thing, I still think that it's really cool and it really helps you in many situations. And again, I give Apple a pat on the back because of how connected I'm able to stay with my other devices. Like for those who don't know, I shoot videos on my iPhone, so whenever I'm done shooting, all I have to do is airdrop the videos to my MacBook, and it makes the process so much easier. And again, the software handled really well. Even after 2 months of use, the iPhone 14 Pro Max was able to keep up that consistency not only within the display, but also within the software. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro Max has a 4300 mAh battery that I will say held up really well when compared to other smartphones in the market. I will usually have about 8 to 10 hours of on-screen time, which was pretty heavy usage since I also shoot videos. And on days where I would shoot videos, I would end my day with about 20% battery left, which was really good since recording takes up most of my day. And on days where I would use the iPhone 14 Pro Max like a regular phone, I would end my day with about 35% battery left, which was a pretty good enough difference for me. The charging was something that I did have a problem with. It was a little worse than the 14 Pro. Like whenever I would charge it during the day, it would take forever to get to 100%, and it really made everything harder, especially when you compare it to my Pixel 7 Pro. And another thing that I would say sucked was the wireless charging speeds. Like when compared to my other phones, the iPhone 14 Pro Max would take longer for me to connect it because of the really big camera bump. There were also many times where I had to position it at a weird angle and the speeds were much slower. And now when comparing to the 14 Pro, I would say that the speakers were better in terms of volume. The bass was a little bit weak, but still better than the 14 Pro, and the overall sound quality was pretty good. And besides the bass not being that great, I would say that the overall sound quality was really good. Music sounded good, videos were very loud and clear, and the speakers overall enhanced my viewing experience. And to give you guys an idea of how the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video so that you can just see how loud they are. Now, the camera on the iPhone 14 Pro Max was easily my favorite thing that I loved about it, and honestly, it has the best videos out of any phone. The pictures always came out nice, vibrant, very sharp, and was able to capture everything very fast, which made the camera even more practical. And when we look at the daytime outside photos, I would say that these were really good. I liked how my skin looked when taking selfies. I liked how the colors were very accurate. I really liked how nice the skies look, even when taking long range photos. And again, when looking at all these photos back to back, I again liked how consistent they were. There was some yellowing here and there, but only in certain situations. But again, I really want Apple to get rid of it. And now when we look at the daytime inside photos, I would say that these were just as consistent as the outside pictures. There still was a little bit yellowing and it really got on my nerves. But if you do find the right lighting, it won't be as much of a problem. But again, in certain situations, it really is a problem. But despite the yellowing, I still was able to get really good photos. And I really do think that the iPhone is comparable to the Pixel when it comes to inside photos. My skin still looked really nice without the graininess. Different objects still maintain that signature sharpness, and the overall pictures came off as very natural while adjusting to the environment. And when it came to video quality, the 14 Pro Max had one of the best to offer. And to give you guys an example, here's some videos that I took on it. There it is, my review on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Now let me know down below, do you guys think that the iPhone 14 Pro Max is worth getting? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I would like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.